Hi, and welcome to the newest episode of Inside Port Orange. I'm Jordan Guido, the Emergency Management Coordinator.
And I'm Christine Martindale, Public Information Officer. We got a great show for you today. We'll be talking about timber harvesting within our city forest.
And we'll also be talking to our Community Development Department about a great opportunity for you to give feedback about transportation within the region.
So let's now send it over to Tim Berman, Community Development Director.
The River to Sea Transportation Planning Organization is currently seeking public input through their survey as it relates to planned transportation improvements throughout Volusia County and portions of Flagler County. The River to Sea TPO is an independent organization that is responsible for planning and programming of federal and state funds related to transportation improvements in Volusia County and portions of Flagler County. The TPO survey is currently available on the city's website under City News and is ongoing until June 30th. The intent of the survey is to collect data from residents, employers, and visitors of Volusia County and portions of Flagler County as it relates to planned roadway improvements, public transportation, and bicycle and pedestrian facilities.
Thanks, Tim. Remember, you have until June 30th to complete the survey. All the information can be found on our website, www.port-orange.org. Look for City News on our homepage.
And now we're going to go to our next segment, which is the Port Orange Point. This week's point is... I have to admit, Christine, that whenever I was told we would be going to the city forest to talk about all the projects going on there, I was a bit skeptical. Most people don't even know that there's a city forest in this town. But lo and behold, there we were driving through the woods on a beautiful afternoon amongst the trees. Passing by some deer, I felt like I was in my hometown in western Pennsylvania instead of miles from the ocean in the Sunshine State. 10,000 acres of land, home to tortoises, wildlife, water wells, and a solar panel farm. Going on right now is the timber harvesting and power pole protection initiatives in the forest. I wasn't sure how to feel about thinning the forest, but after talking with our contracted city forester, Steve, and realizing how dry it really is out there, I started to see the benefits of thinning the trees so that the plants and growth underneath wouldn't continue to die, and instead be able to flourish like the trees were. As an emergency management coordinator and member of the fire department, I was able to appreciate it too because, well, it is wildfire season. All right, I am here in the city forest with Steve Edgar. He's the contracted city forester. And Steve, can you tell us a little bit more about timber harvesting?
I can. These trees behind us were planted after the 1998 fires killed much of the timber on the city forest. The city forest is about 10,000 acres of land, some of it owned by the city, like where we're standing, some of it owned in joint ownership with the county. These trees were planted right after the fires, and they've been growing about 15 years. And then, as a part of the city's forest management, in order to keep the timber from dominating the forest, and in order to accomplish the objective set by the city council of creating a natural forest that provides both wildlife habitat and income to the city, and a beautiful recreational opportunity. The trees are thinned to keep the trees from dominating the ecosystem. So we came through this stand and we marked every third row, and then we marked the smaller trees in between the rows, and left the best trees that you can see behind us. This was thinned about 3-4 months ago, and the forest looks almost natural. It's really nice to see my babies grow and thrive. I'm very proud of this stand.
That's awesome. So how often do you have to do the harvesting?
We like to thin about every 5 years once these trees have reached this point. At some point, they'll be the size for utility poles, which is the highest product that we could produce. And the city council will need to decide whether or not to do a final harvest or simply continue to manage the larger trees. But for now, we're looking at thinning about every 5 years. And so in 5 years, these small crowns will start to shade out the understory and reduce the wildlife habitat, and we'll thin it again.
How long does that take for you to do it each time?
The thinning process, I think they were here about 2 weeks, so a good crew can move through it very quickly. I think we'll see later the actual harvesting machinery. It's quite interesting. It's really never touched by human hands anymore. A machine called a feller buncher comes through and cuts the trees off. The feller buncher takes 5 or 6 trees, carries them along, and then lays them down in a bunch. And then the skidder comes and picks them up and takes them to the loader, and the loader puts them on a truck. So it's very, very different from when I first started forestry, and most of the trees were cut by hand and loaded by hand.
How long have you been in this business?
Almost 40 years now.
Wow.
Almost 40 years.
Anything else that you would like people to know about it? Maybe they don't know about?
I'd like the citizens of Port Orange to know that the city has a city forest, that it's being well managed, that the city council needs some applause for managing this property. Most people in the city don't realize the benefits and the protection that this forest provides to the drinking water for the citizens. It was very far-sighted for the council to buy and acquire these lands and assure the future water supply of the city, because it looks like water is going to be a controlling factor in the future of cities in the future.
Definitely. You know, we were driving through here and it's incredible how much land is back here, and I never even realized that all this was back here. So it's incredible to see, and we thank you very much for taking some time with us today.
Glad to.
And we'll send it back to City Hall. Thank you.
Wow, what a great interview with Steve Edgar and all the initiatives going on within our city forest.
That wraps up this week's episode of Inside Port Orange. If you would like your business or event featured on an upcoming episode, email jguido@port-orange.org.
Have a great week.